Friends, thank you for watching my channel. I just want to remind you, if you need wallpaper, go to www.wallpaperboulevard.com. Tell them Spencer sent you. In fact, if you use my hashtag, Spencer Colgan is wallpaper, they'll be sure to give you 10% off at your checkout. No matter how much you order, they have a wide selection of wallpaper. Check it out. Cork Wallpaper. Removal. This is not your average cork. You can actually see the profile that makes your bottle of wine cork stopper. The problem with removing cork wallpaper is that it's made in sections. In the middle of your screen you see a seam, right? Well, that's how the cork is put on to its backing in squares. Consequently, when you take it off, you may find, if you do the removal too quickly, you may be getting little squares coming off. So how do you go about it? First, we're going to start by wetting it. Check out the absorption on the cork. You see how the water goes into the cork? See it? See how that does? It goes inside. Well, until you have saturated this material sufficiently, don't even think about taking it off. You'll know that your cork is saturated when you come over to an area you've already wet and it no longer seeps into the cork. And it just sits on the top, which means that it's wet inside. Then you can start thinking about taking it down, but not when it's still sucking your water into the material. We have to wait till the water rolls down the front. Okay. So to remove thick cork, you want a tool that's not very flexible, something hard. Now, this is not successful. No. But what I'm doing is exposing the backing, which now can swell up. You see, this is sort of preventing the water from getting to this. It's the problem with a thick cork. But once you expose the backing, we can then go back to water and treat it like any other wallpaper. You see, now this is just like any other of your wallpapers. But you might panic and say, oh, I can't get this off. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Oh, yes, you can. Lent is a good time to remove wallpaper because it's a very penitential act. So, if you like mortification and penance, put off your wallpaper jobs for Lent because you can mortify your tongue, your mind, your muscles, and your patience all in one job. All in one job. That's the nice thing about doing wallpaper. When customers call me and say, my husband and I, we were trying to put up a peel and stick together. I say, stop right there, ma'am. I have free counseling for married people who try anything with wallpaper by themselves. Okay, didn't want to bore you with pulling off the cork. So now I'll show you what remains. And it's a very high quality backing. See that? See how it withstands the pressure of my fingers? It's high quality. Which is good for you. So that it comes down in large pieces. That's the gist of the video. But some of you come for other things. Like, what do I do right after I remove it? First of all, you clean the wall. You clean it off, warm water, a mild detergent, mild. Don't be using chemicals other than a mild detergent. I don't use Diff. I think that's a joke. Hey, you know what? You want to use Diff? I'm going to sell you a bottle of Spencer. Don't buy that stuff. It doesn't do anything quicker than what I'm doing here. Don't buy it. It's junk. It's useless. Yeah, Diff will send me an email. Can we send you several gallons of it, please? No, thank you. I don't want it. And I don't want to be breathing it in when you put it in a mister. You know, like you mist it onto the wall. No, thanks. Okay, now I'm reusing my fingernails because my fingers aren't going to gouge the walls. And I urge you to do the same thing, especially if you don't have texture. Okay? Because you'll easily put scratches in your wall. It's wet. So it's vulnerable to impressions from your fingernails, or certainly a scraper. So just lightly peel it off. Okay? Now I'm going to give you the secret of this video. Most people will not see this segment in which I'm going to give the secret because they move around. These videos average 4.5 to 6 minutes of watch time, which means that people fast forward. Here's the secret. What I'm doing right now. If it's not coming off, folks, listen to me. Wet it again. If you've wet it 3 times and you say, no, Spencer, it's not coming off, wet it again. You say, oh, Spencer, I've wet it 6 times, it's not coming off. Wet it a 7th time. Trust me when I tell you, the more you wet it, this is what's going to happen. to wet it more for large pieces to come down. You know? The more I wet it, the more success I'll have. And that's the name of the game. See? For those of you who stayed for this part, you got the secret. Okay. Clean the wall up. If you're putting new wallpaper on it, protect the wall with a sealer. Now you can do that with an oil-based primer. Oil locks in the glue, the paste, locks it down permanently. Guards, G-A-R-D-S, locks it down permanently. Okay? And then you can paint or wallpaper right over that. Okay, very quickly the rest of the backing came down because it was wet. This whole thing came down in one piece. Now, let's talk about what remains. Don't be offended. You would be crazy to try to get this off like this. Absolutely crazy. The more you wet it, it'll come off. Okay? But here's the thing. It's going to take you a lot of time, a lot of muscle, and it's not going to come out perfect. You'll end up with something like that. This is paste, look. In fact, it's a clay-based glue. I can tell. See that color? It's clay. Let this dry. Put guards, G-A-R-D-Z, over it, or oil, if you can tolerate it. Let it dry. It will seal this in. If you try to use a water-based primer over this, that's how your primer will look in about a minute. Okay, won't get into the reasons why, but that's what'll happen. Okay, then you have some damage under the wall. You gotta fix this. So you let this harden, okay? And then you put guards or oil-based primer on it. And then here's what you do. Skim coat it. You take drink compound, make this all flat. Look on my video, how to skim coat. I have plenty of them. I don't care if you never did it before, you'll do it perfectly, okay? And that concludes the video.